This episode of the Flush Podcast is brought to you by North Dakota Tourism, Rufflin Performance Kennels, and by Walton's Inc. A few weeks ago, I started a conversation with my bird hunting buddy, George Lyall. We talked about a few of our favorite do-it-yourself bucket list bird hunting destinations. Today, we're going to tackle a few more. Hunting season will be here before we know it, so now is the time to start planning. Welcome to another episode of the Flush Podcast. I'm Travis Frank. I'm your host, and I want to say thank you for taking the time to listen to our conversations. I've been hearing from a lot of you over the last few weeks, and it's really good to know where you stand on some of the issues that we've been talking about. Please keep letting me know about the things that you want to hear us talk about on this show, and if there's anything that we can do to make this program a little bit better. I'm still learning here, and I want to hear from you. I want to know what you like, what you don't like, and I'll do my best. And on that same topic, I'll admit that I haven't checked a lot of the different podcast apps that are out there, but the owner of our company told me the other day that he was looking at them, and a lot of you have left some really, really nice comments on our show. So I just want to say thank you for doing that. And he said, hey, if you guys have the ability to leave some more, that's great, because what that does is it just helps our show get into other podcasts, other people's search engines a little bit better. If you leave a rating, if you leave a comment, it just helps us. So I guess in a roundabout way, you're helping the conservation mission if you do that, because maybe there's something that somebody out there would hear on the show that may help them, that may introduce somebody else to hunting, and the circle continues. So we appreciate you listening, and we appreciate your support, and we hope that it continues. Last week, I talked with Darrell Smith, and his story has really left a lasting impact on my life, and it has left an impact on a lot of yours. I heard from several listeners, a lot that have shared their own stories. I think I'm going to talk with a few more in the coming weeks to just kind of really open up this conversation. Darrell talked about what it was like for himself getting started in bird hunting. He's a black man from Georgia, and he's had to go through a lot of challenges, a lot of things that I haven't had to go through, just because I'm a white man and he's a black man. And that conversation has really stuck with me. And over the last several weeks, several months, I'm really learning and appreciating the opportunities that have been available to have open and candid conversations, one-on-one conversations, not text messages, not messages over apps or on Facebook or online, but actual one-on-one conversations, either over the phone or in person. And I just want to say, it doesn't matter if it's hunting conversations or about life or anything at all. When you have that opportunity, I hope you'll take it. I really do. I hope you'll take that opportunity to talk to people one-on-one. You will learn more about them, about yourself, and they will as well. And I guarantee you, positives will come from it. So with that, I'm going to have another conversation, because that's what I get to do on this show all the time. And today, my buddy George Lyall is back on the show. George, I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy man working for Runnings right now. George, what's happening with the running stores? I know you guys have several across the Midwest and across the country. Are you guys busier than normal, or where do things stand with you?
We are, first of all, thank you for having me on, Travis. It's great to have a conversation with you and talk about all the things that you and I love talking about. But as far as runnings goes, we are busier than we've ever been. Our transactions, store transactions compared to previous years, you can't even compare the numbers. So our staff and our stores are working extra hard to take care of our customers. Of course, we're doing all the protocol to keep our stores clean and follow all the guidelines that are out there to make sure our customers stay safe and our employees stay safe. But yeah, we're setting. Our biggest battle is keeping merchandise on the shelves. Let's put it that way. So we're taking care of our customers, selling a lot of product, and we just opened up new market in South Dakota in the Sioux Falls area, and so we have those 7 new stores online, and things are going great.
Well, I've been hearing from.
Yep, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say I've been hearing from a lot of people the same thing. The shelves in a lot of different stores are empty. Is that just because manufacturers had to shut down their plants if they weren't considered essential, and now they're just trying to catch up, or what's causing it?
A little bit of that. I think a lot of manufacturing was caught off guard on the demand that would be there. So, we're deemed an essential business. Obviously, we're providing animal health and stuff for farming and ranching, and food products and clothing and what have you. But I think just the sheer demand from the public is what's really driving empty shelves. I mean, they're doing things that they might not have had time to do before, and they're spending more time as a family, and so they're doing family outings, whether it's fishing or hiking or whatever they're doing. So I mean, because our sporting goods department has gone crazy. I mean, try to find a fishing lure in Runnings right now. It can be difficult, but we do have product, but you're not going to find the wide selection they're used to seeing, just because people are out doing those outdoor activities more than they think they ever did in any other spring.
Yeah, I know just here in Minnesota, I can speak from what I'm seeing on the water. The public boat accesses are just absolutely packed. The other day, it took me almost an hour in the parking lot to just wait my turn in line to get my boat in the water. The lakes are just absolutely packed. But if you think about it, we don't have sporting events to go to. We don't have concerts to go to. People aren't at least here, we're not, up and running on community ed programs with our kids. So baseball, soccer, some of those summer sports, they're not happening yet. So where are you going to go? You go into the lake. I mean, we live in the land of 10,000 lakes here. I know other, states around the country. The popularity of the outdoors has probably, at least in my lifetime, it's never been this high. I have a feeling, and I could be wrong here, but I have a feeling this fall we're going to be seeing a lot of this translate into the fields. We don't know what's going to happen with some of the other time consuming activities people have been doing, if it's football games or baseball games, but the outdoors are there, and they're the safest place that we could possibly be right now. So we're going to get into conversations in the field, I guess, or we called it do-it-yourself bucket list bird hunts, because Georgie, my boy, that's what you and I love to do more than anything, is to dream up our hunt, where we want to go, and then research it and make it happen. And it's almost always places that anybody can go, public land, right?
Right. We've been on a couple in Oklahoma. I know we hit a couple private pieces of ground, but 90% of that hunt was on wide open spaces, open to everybody and anybody that wants to get out there and brush off the leather on their hunting boots.
Yeah, and even that private land too, it was only because you were hunting on public land and you ran into another hunter that had a dog that needed some attention. You had your kit with you, you sewed that dog up, and now you became friends with another hunter down there who also said, hey, I've got some private land that we can go try to walk on. So in a roundabout way, I think our hunting community, it's an open invitation for a lot of people, and in some ways, though, it's not an open invitation for others, because it's a limited resource, right?
Yeah, Right.
So let's get back into some destinations. On our previous show, if you want to listen to that, it was, I don't know, it's a few weeks ago. I'll tell you, George, I just have to say that of all the people, well, probably Darrell on our last show, I got the most feedback from him, from our viewers. A lot of people just were really appreciative of him telling his story, and just having the courage to do that. And I'm thankful too. But you, my friend, I get more feedback from our viewers about when are we going to have George back on? When is George going to be back on? I think some of the other hosts of our show are a little bit jealous of you, Georgie.
Well, you keep telling me that, and I'm in disbelief. But you've showed me some of the evidence, and I don't know. Maybe it's because you and I discuss adventure and not the same. We don't go to the exact same spot every time.
Yep.
It's not like launching the boat on your favorite lake and you go to the same walleye spot and you just sit there and sit over the same spot over and over and over. I don't think you and I have gone back to the same coulees or coverts or open fields ever.
We haven't.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that's why people want to hear about the what the next adventure is or what our last adventure was, but we haven't talked about it. So and there's been enough of them, and around every corner something just surprises us, and I think you'll agree. Every hunt we've been on, we've always found birds,
Hmm.
but we haven't found birds like just stepping out of the truck and like on a South Dakota pheasant hunt. If you're with someone that knows the area, you might step out of the truck and get the dogs ready and start walking, and you're going to see, whatever, 50, 100 pheasants or more. You and I have had to get out on the landscape, and for the first half a day, it's like, okay, let's figure the game out, whatever the bird is we're after. And we take a look at the geography and the habitat, and between the two of us, again, half day into it, it's like, okay, I think we've got a little bit better game plan. And then as the days follow, then we start being more, the dogs become more productive and we become more productive. And so, I think that's the thrill of when you and I jump in the truck together and go somewhere is, what are we going to find around that next turn?
Not the George Strait songs that we're going to be singing while we're driving there.
Well, we're definitely gonna be doing that, but we don't want that on film, I don't think.
Oh yeah, there would be copyright laws on that. We can't show some of that. No, I like the thrill of the hunt. I like the challenge probably more than I actually like pulling the trigger. And I mean, to me, that's what makes it exciting. And the opportunity to say, yeah, we got in a boat, we drove for an hour, and we found an island, and we grabbed our shotguns and we walked out, and we found birds on there and we ate them for dinner. I mean, it's pretty dang good. So yeah, we talked about an Ontario grouse hunt, and then we discussed Oklahoma. But our latest adventure, we were in Wyoming, and the Flush episode is called Wyoming Mountain Birds. It aired this last season. It is available on our YouTube channel, so you can watch it if you want to. The Flush TV. Just do a quick search, you'll find us. But so we hunted once again all public land. Now we did hunt with Justin Binfet, and he's a local bird hunter out there. He very, very knowledgeable. So we had an upper hand there. But George, what was something that surprised you the most on that hunt?
I think the biggest thing that surprised me was the diversity of the habitat,
Hmm.
the diversity of the geography. I couldn't believe how different Wyoming was when we were after sage grouse, and then within, I don't know, Travis, an hour drive or so, maybe a little bit longer. Then we were up in elevation after chukar, and then then a slightly different elevation change, and there were the gray partridge, the Huns. So, and then when you're out on that wide expanse and you're looking for sage grouse, and you look around, and as far as you can see is just sage. It's a little it's a little overwhelming,
Yeah, it is. So I learned a lot there, and when I go on the road, I'm like a sponge. I want to understand the habitat and the birds, and I love the different varieties. When I would agree with what you said too. So when I was out there, the thing that really stood out to me, being a Minnesota flatlander hunting small parcels that we have here in this state, was that when we went out so we hunted. Yeah, you said it. We hunted Hungarian partridge, chukar, and sage grouse. And the first day was sage grouse in the flats. I mean, I remember at one point we were up on top of a mountain, and Justin's like, "Yeah, all of this, as far as you can see, is public land." Just the
Yeah,
sheer amount.
because we were at elevation and we were looking out over that basin. I'm not sure how far we could see, but I'm not. I don't think I'm fooling anybody if we could see 50 miles.
Right.
Maybe
Right.
let's just say 50 miles, and you could walk. As long as you want to walk, you could go, and not cross someone else's road, not come across a farm, ranch or anything like that. As far as you could see was just open expanse, which those birds need, by the way. So,
Yep. So I learned a lot about the sage grouse. I did quite a bit of research before we left. Wyoming is probably the most populated state, or well, it is statistically. It has more sage grouse there than any of the other states in the lower 48. And obviously, they have the sage grouse initiative, but it's really the fact that these are old birds. And do you remember how old did he say? Over 20 years the sage grouse will live?
yeah, yep,
Yeah. And so they need massive areas for their home territory. And they need sage. That's what they need. It has to be undisturbed. So I mean, the most obvious, the urban sprawl has had an impact on their home ranges. Oil has had a big impact on their home ranges, but they have a stable population out there. And so I know you and I, as we're driving out there, we didn't, a lot of times when we go on hunts, it's like, all right, we want to get into quite a few birds. For us, this was just, I want to see one flush, because I don't know how long these hunting opportunities are going to last for this bird. I hope it's in my I hope it goes beyond my lifetime and several more. But the reality is, it's a fragile resource. I was going to be happy with just one bird.
yeah. I think you and I were there. I know you and I were there for the exact same reason. And the first time we saw our first sage grouse, we just stopped the truck and watched them, and then we got out and filmed them in their habitat, and they are they're a creature of habit. They love their home territory. I think Justin was telling us that they pretty much live. I'm not sure the size of the area they live in, but they spend the majority of their life there. That hen definitely breeds in that same spot, nests in the same spot, raises their young in the same spot, and now the young will disperse from there. But that hen pretty much stays in that area her entire life.
Mm-hmm. And
So
the leks remain the same every single year too. So they may travel. I think he said, was it over 50 miles in a year to different areas, but they'll always return to the same leks. And so that's why just the importance of the vast amount of land is needed for these birds to continue their normal life cycle. But yeah, you said it. When we got out there, we were driving on these, essentially they're like 2-track roads that run through the middle of these sage flats out there. They go for miles and miles and miles. but all of a sudden we're like, there's one. And it was a whole covey of them. And he said, I remember Justin saying, he's like, unfortunately, there are several hunters that this is how they hunt. They just drive around on these 2-track roads until they see them, and then they get out. Because the birds, when we saw them, they didn't go running for a half mile. They weren't like a pheasant. They did hold in that area. We shot them, but only with our cameras, not our guns, because that wasn't the hunt that I know you and I signed up for. So we got incredible footage of them just doing their thing in their own habitat, but those weren't the birds that we hunted. And when we got out there, it it took us, I think, George, would you say like 5 or 6 hours before we got into a bird or into a
Yeah,
covey?
yeah, for sure. Because everything looked the same if you just looked at the wide open expanse. But
Hmm.
then when we did find those birds, remember was it cheatgrass?
Hmm.
The taller stands of grass that were intermixed or had an edge with the sage, so it gave two different types of habitat, and that's where we found them. And once we figured that out, then we could direct our efforts and bring the dogs to those areas, because when you're looking at a walk 15, 20, 30 miles in a straight line,
Hmm.
you know, we weren't up for that task. Like, why not focus where we saw those birds? But yeah, I think 4 or 5 hours before, I think we put Boone down first, and then Skinny
Skinny
went.
jeans got it done.
Yeah, Skinny jeans. Skinny was he found the first covey. Boone pointed, but
Hmm.
there weren't. There might have been birds there before, but we had several unproductive points, and then later on, like I said, we switched out dogs, put Skinny on the ground, and Skinny got it done right away,
Hmm. Well,
or
we
whatever.
just,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was a big, not that Boone wouldn't have found them, but we just didn't send them in the right direction. I mean, we had to make the mistakes. But again, that's the whole point. Like, that's what I enjoy is I don't want to just be hand fed. I want to go out there and have to figure it out. So we did that. Justin admittedly did it too. Like, we went to uh, places that he wasn't, you know, certain that there are birds there. Earlier, late summer, the lower areas that have a little bit more moisture are going to hold those birds. But Wyoming, it's a September hunt for them. It's a short season. It's hot. It was 80 degrees. That was a challenge. Back of our mind, George, I know you were thinking rattlesnakes, right?
When the sun came up and warmed up that high arid area, yes, for sure. Matter of fact,
Mm-hmm.
later on, I think the second or third day, you found a nice skin laying out there. You're like, hey, be careful. I got presents of snakes. I'm like, okay, and that's when we had Minnie. I mean, Minnie was on the ground quite a bit, but my gosh, she's about the size of a rattlesnake. So she's not that small, but
Right.
you know what I'm saying. If she comes face to face with a rattlesnake, it wouldn't be good. But yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we didn't run the dogs nonstop because obviously when you get into that heat. So these are things that you want to think about if you're going to plan a trip west early hunting season like that when it's hot. We basically we went into it saying we're going to hunt the morning, we're going to wait during the heat, we're going to hunt in the afternoon to do the best we can to avoid those time periods. Um, and so the first day we had a 3-day hunt plan. The first day we did sage grouse. Second day we went up into the mountains. And the beauty of Wyoming that I learned is just like, oh my goodness, that is a sleeper state if you're a bird hunter. The variety of birds. He's like, well, you want to go for blue grouse or should we do sharp-tailed grouse? And I'm like, how about chukar? And he goes, yeah, we can do that. What about Hungarian partridge? Yep, we can do that too. I mean, just the amount of different birds that are available to hunt out there makes it very attractive to me. I think it should, if you're an adventure type of bird hunter that wants to just hop in your truck and go. The amount of public land out there, again, BLM land, it goes for hundreds of thousands of miles. You can get those maps, Onyx maps. There's other ones out there now too. Base map is another one, and it shows you where you are, where the public land is. But George, have you ever chukar hunted before that day?
I had not. I had not stepped foot in chukar country. And I was fired up about doing it, that's for sure.
Why?
Well, I'd never done it before, and I'm up for an adventure. And, of course, once I saw what the adventure can consist of, I kind of scratched my head, and I wish I had a different shotgun in my hand, I tell you that. Anyone that's going to... Nope, I'm going to say it. Anyone that's listening to this podcast, if you're going to go chukar hunting, take your fine shotguns. Bring the really nice shotguns out there for your sage grouse hunt, because there's really nothing to, you're not gonna trip over anything. But when you hit the chukar country, I would bring a synthetic, whatever, something that you don't mind bashing on the rocks, and bring a shoulder harness, bring a strap. Because when we got out of the truck, we all got set, and Justin said, okay, I think they're going to be, and he pointed up. And I'm like, wow, we're really going to climb up that. And you went all the way, I went to the midsection, you went all the way to the top of the rim. And I looked at Justin, and he had this synthetic black, poly gun. And I'm going, that is just, it's a workhorse shotgun, right?
Yep.
With a shoulder strap, I'm like, we're bird hunting here. You better be ready, But the dogs are going to point. We're going to be able to walk in there. And the second I had to climb up the face of that rim rock, I went, oh, now I get it. I need two hands, and you can't do it. And I was carrying one of my nice Browning shotguns. I'm going, I don't want to get a scratch on this. So that's one thing I would change for sure. Yeah.
I remember when we were winding our way kind of up, and then we got to where we had parked, and Justin's like, yeah, we're going to go up there. And you're like, I still can remember the look on your face, like, we're going up there.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you were going to actually do it.
Oh, come on. I'm going to do it. And I've seen chukar hunting, like on television. I've Bill Shirk did a flush episode in
Hell's Canyon.
Hell's Canyon. So I watched that, and I kind of wasn't totally off guard about it, but I definitely would not bring your shotgun you don't mind getting a scratch on. I'll just put it that way. Yeah, and bring light in the load. You will be rock climbing.
Yeah.
If you're scared of heights, I don't know.
I am. That's the thing. I am.
That's right. That's why I threw it out there. I was going to see if you were going to. I was going to see if you're going to admit that.
No, I am, but I still power through because I have learned in life that if I can overcome my challenges, I'm going to experience some pretty amazing things. So I remember when I went to Nevada this past season, I hunted with Matt Harding out there, and he's like, yeah, if you can get an extension on your shotgun, go ahead and do that. You're just going to want as many shots as you can get on it, because once you finally get close enough to take a shot, you don't want to run out of shells. And I would agree with it, because it's nothing that you can't I don't know how to. I just think like when with chukar hunting, you just have to know that you have to go through the toughest stuff to get there most of the time, and there's no easy way around it. But you have to do it if you love to bird hunt at least once in your life. You've got to make a trip, because watching a dog go on point, George, up in a mountainside, how do you describe that?
I don't know if you can. It's just, I think I said it multiple times on the TV show. It's absolutely spectacular, because the vista that you see beyond the dog, and you're walking up, and I know when Boone went on that one point and Minnie made that retrieve coming back up the canyon, if you want to call it that, whatever, up the rimrock. I remember walking into that point and going, where are the birds? Because the ledge just ended and it went basically straight down for I don't know how far, pretty far. But the birds were hiding just over that ledge, and when they flushed, we were shooting down at them at an expanse that went down for a half mile, and so
yeah.
the shooting perspective that you get, the sight picture you have hunting the mountains is unlike anything you can't practice it. I mean, how do you practice that? I guess you could get in a duck tower and put the clay bird thrower below you and have the bird come up. I don't know, but it's pretty awesome.
Well, you may do just fine because you were our sharpshooter on that hunt. You did just fine, but your dogs did even better. So I'm sure if somebody's never done it and they have a dog, you had two English pointers, and then we had the little English cocker mini. But what would you suggest somebody that says, you know what, fine, I'm going to try this do-it-yourself type thing. I'm going to go out and hunt somewhere out west. What did you do? What did you do to prepare your dogs? What did you bring as a insurance in case something happened?
First off, the dogs. If you're going to go outside of your home range and you're in area that you're in habitat that you're very unfamiliar with, because this was straight up and straight down. There is a opportunity for your dog to get in trouble. If you have a dog that's out of control, and just you let the dog off the truck and it's going 1,000 miles an hour and not paying attention to you and its surroundings, there's some drop offs that go down 50 feet, and if you just want to make sure your dog is in tune with you, going with you, and following your instructions. That would be foremost. The other big thing is when you're traveling, before you get to your destination, know where a vet is, make contact with that vet. So you know how to, their emergency number, because you know darn well that nothing ever happens between the hours of 9 o'clock and 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. They always happen at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
And so you want to have emergency contact. Make sure you have a vet bag with you that you can take care of not just minor cuts, but pretty major lacerations, wraps, something you can put your dog back together so you can get it safely from wherever the injury might have occurred back to the truck and to the vet's office. So just have a good medical kit and have your dog in condition and under control. And that's whether or not you're in chukar country where there's rim rock and there's an opportunity to fall. If you're in the north woods of Minnesota or Wisconsin or Michigan, Canada, wherever you are in the woods, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but Bob St. Pierre from Pheasants Forever lost one of his dogs on a grouse hunt.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because I believe the dog jumped over a log and there was a stub on the other side that was basically like
punctured.
a bungee stick and punctured the dog. So no fault to Bob's. It's just accidents happen to dogs and they happen to hunters. Mm-hmm. That's the other thing. Your medical kit should be stuff that can take care of yourself too,
Not gonna lie, there was a couple times that week where I thought I might have to throw you on my shoulders to get you back down the mountain. At least we were going down. Not sure I could carry you back up.
Wow.
Right. George, have you ever had your dogs run into rattlesnakes?
Yeah. This past September 2019, Tucker, my English pointer, came face to face with about a 6-foot rattlesnake. I saw what was about to happen, and my dogs all run with an e-collar and a GPS system on them. But this happened 50 yards from the truck, 10 feet from my hunting buddy, and he was saying something to me about we were watching Tucker go in on this piece of grass, and you could tell it was curiosity. If it was a bird, he would have pointed it. And he almost, I wouldn't say he pinned his ears back, but he was going with initiative. And I knew that one, it was either a porcupine out there on the prairie or something that he shouldn't have been involved in. And I hit the e-collar to get him to stop, but I was a split second too late, and that snake struck him right in the bridge of the nose. Thankfully, just right across below the eyes, across the bridge of the nose, and he jumped back, and the snake was still attached to him. But then I brought him around to me, and we had to seek medical attention immediately, and we got out of the area and got to a vet. So,
what happened?
Benadryl is the trick there. You got to make sure if you're in snake country, go online, research what it takes, know your dog's weight. Know how much Benadryl you got to get on board with them, but it's liquid, children's liquid Benadryl, but you got to know your dog's weight and how much dose to get them. And usually the Benadryl is what's going to take care of the dog.
So, did you have the Benadryl with you? You gave him right away in the field, or once you got to the vet?
So once we got to the vet, because the one and only time that I've let my guard down, I did not have my Benadryl with me. Shame on me. Never will happen again. Please, anyone listening to this podcast, if you're in snake country, rattlesnake country, do the research, have the right amount of Benadryl with you, and be able to administer it. And again, this is where a trained, well-behaved dog comes in, is key, so you can get medication on board as quickly as possible. But we were able to get to a vet, and the vet got the medication on board. Anti-inflammatory is really what it is. And a lot has to do with Tucker's fine now. He was fine the next day. His face was really swollen. And that's the biggest thing. You're going to get a lot of swelling. And but the size of the dog, the size of the snake, the smaller the snake, the worse it is. And where the dog gets...
Really? Why is that?
Where the dog gets hit. If you have a young snake, they can't control their venom output. So when they strike and they hit you, all their venom's released in one shot. An adult rattlesnake has control of their venom output, so they can strike multiple times. So the smaller, if you get a little guy like 2 foot long, those are the worst. Yeah. That's the other thing. You're worried about the dogs. Be aware of yourself. Of course, it was hot, and snake boots can be cumbersome. And my snake boots that I normally have on, that I'd be wearing, were sitting in the truck, and I was in my regular lightweight hunting boots with no snake chaps. So do yourself a favor and get some turtle skin snake, either chaps or gaiters, and be prepared.
It happens really quickly. Were you at all on your drive to the vet nervous you weren't going to make it in time?
Absolutely. Yeah, we had a ways to go.
How far away were you?
We had an 1.5-hour drive. Wow. Yeah, it was too far. And luckily, again, a lot has to do with where the dog gets bit. The farther away from the heart, the better. So they get hit in the chest and they're a lighter dog and they're a muscular dog, there's trouble. So again,
all right, I guess.
Yeah, know where the vet is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, all right, I guess we might as well quit this conversation. Nobody's gonna go out hunting anymore anyway. Right. Jeez.
Well,
be more depressing, George.
Yeah, sorry, that took a turn. That took a turn. I want you to know I'm going to be right back out there hunting prairie chickens and sharptails early season in snake country, but I will be prepared, and I'll be more aware of Minnie, my little hunting cocker, my English cocker, putting her on the ground when there's that many snakes.
Right. No, I joked about it, but the reality is we talked about it a lot when we were hunting out there in Wyoming too. What do you think you could do? I mean, because it happened so quick. It's not like you had a lot of time to say, "Hey, Tucker, come back here." I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
he's a dog, he's running. I mean, your dogs will be at times 400, 500 yards away on a mountainside or, in a valley, and they're hunting because your dogs roam, which is a amazing thing to watch how they roam so wide. But like you what if it was over the side of a hill and you couldn't see the dog, which happens a lot.
Right.
What There's
If
not
I
much you can do, right?
Well, there is. You can snake proof the dog. You can train the dog to be aware of the snake and not approach the snake. My dogs are not snake proofed. You can also give them a snake vaccine, a venom vaccine, which my dogs are not on that either. I live in southwestern Minnesota. I predominantly hunt rough grouse.
Not in southwestern
There's
Minnesota, by the way.
No, yeah, right, yeah, no, don't look me up and go, hey, can we go hunting together and
Yeah,
expect to
George said
find?
he lives in southwest Minnesota and he predominantly hunts rough grouse. They don't live there, okay?
they,
They don't live
they,
there.
no, they do not. Do not come to my farm in southwest Minnesota and expect me to show you some rough grouse. meet me at my camp in northern Wisconsin or in northern Minnesota. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, they do not live there. But anyway, so a friend of mine, Sonny Pecars at Hay Creek Kennel in Wisconsin, he does snake proofing. I'm sure there's a handful of guys in the area that will snake proof your dog, and that is literally getting the dog near training with snake avoidance. So,
Can you
that
explain that
if
simply to somebody that might not know what that means?
well, okay, so no different than, let's put it in more in our reality of where I normally hunt rough grouse.
Mm-hmm.
What's there?
Mm-hmm.
Porcupines. Well, if you're come across a porcupine, like if you had not a live one, a dead one, whatever, and you came across that porcupine, and you could, what you would do, or a skunk, whatever you don't want the dog to go near, if you have the availability to that, either the scent or the critter, is you get the dog near them and you teach them, I'll just say it, with an e-collar or another, with a rope, to pull the dog, to give the dog a collar jerk, to say, no, that is not something you're allowed to go near. And, with an e-collar, you're putting enough pressure on the dog that it knows it doesn't need to get its nose near that.
How often do you reaffirm that for the dog?
Once the dog learns it, you're pretty much done with it. Yeah.
Do you? Well, but
It's
I mean,
like,
okay,
it's
so it's
almost,
easy to say. It's easy to say that though, but then, do you really feel comfortable saying, "All right, dog knows"? Running out there, you're confident that you don't want to reaffirm that ever?
well, sure, you can reaffirm it if you'd like to, but once the deed is done, once the training is done in that aspect, it's done.
Mm-hmm.
It would be, I mean, I guess what you're saying, so we teach a dog to retrieve, right? Well, we continually,
Yeah.
throughout its life, we throw dummies for it. We keep reaffirming the strong retrieve. I'm always working I'm always running my dogs and reaffirming the pointing and backing aspects of it and steadiness. So sure,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. You can, you can revisit it. Yeah,
Gotcha.
what I'm saying, so if you have a retriever and
Mm-hmm.
you're sending a dog on a retrieve, the act of picking up that object, the act of actually picking it up, that's something, once you train that, say on a force break, once you force break your dog to retrieve something, once that training is done, you never have to go back to force breaking that dog to retrieve. That dog is learned. We've taught the dog, and it's willingly complied, that yes, I tell the dog to pick that up, with 100% confidence that dog's going to pick it up every time. So if you take that same type of training and apply it to porcupines and rattlesnakes and skunks, you pretty much don't have to go back and reinforce that.
Gotcha. Well, that'll apply well when we are on our next adventure, my boy, because we are now in the current planning stages for, let's just say, I think we're going to camp this time. How do you feel about it?
I think it's a fantastic idea. You and I have been talking about that for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, about a hunt where we take all our gear with us, we get out in the habitat, and we set up camp. Maybe on some of these wide open spaces, you're going to get back in the truck and go find some new areas, but set up base camp, and maybe you'll be right in an area where we can walk right from camp and start hunting.
Right. So I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by Wyoming because we only scratched the surface there. So we hunted sage grouse, we hunted chukar, we succeeded there. And then we also hunted Hungarian partridge, which a lot of you know now if you've listened to this show more than once. I'm madly in love with those birds. They are wonderful. They are just like hunting quail in a lot of ways. The covey explosion is incredible, and they live in some of the most beautiful habitat in North America. I love those birds, but they're not like you would think of in North Dakota where you're finding them in grain fields. I'm sure you can out there in Wyoming. We found them not on the top of the mountains where the chukar live, not on the bottom flats where the sage grouse live, but just kind of in that mid range, the valleys more so. Would you describe it as the valleys, George, in the mountains, the mid range, halfway up?
Yes, that the elevation had everything to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you agree? I mean, we were riding along, just like you said, we were down in the low valley, big, wide open sage flats. It's flat as a pancake, and then the chukar hunting is about as high as you wanted to ever get, and then in that mid range, and the again the habitat was 100% different for all three birds. Mm-hmm. And when you found that sweet spot, and certainly out there, like you said, in the Dakotas and Montana, the birds are in rolling hills, but in Wyoming, you had to find the right elevation because the right elevation brought the right moisture, brought the right plant life, the right insects, whatever they needed, the habitat and their food supply. That's where we found them.
Yeah, Justin said that, the Huns are just, they can go up and down and it depends on moisture, just like a lot of upland birds across America. But it's not, people don't come to Wyoming or go to Wyoming a lot of times to hunt for Hungarian partridge because it's just not something that's considered like the bird. But obviously we got into several coveys. We only hunted them for one afternoon. Found, I don't know how many birds we found, once again on public land. I actually, George, I don't tell you about every single message that comes in because I know you've got a job to do too. So, but we had a lot of people that said, "Hey, where did you go?" And that's pretty common for when one of our shows airs. If people are interested and it's something they maybe wanted to try, they reach out, which I'm glad, and I try to point people in the right direction. But I don't ever give up. Like, here's the parking lot. We went, on this ridge here, and I think it's just important to be respectful of the land and just show people that the opportunities are there, and explain some of the things that we learned along the way to help them out, but just to let them experience their own adventure and not handing it over to them. So I tell people, we stayed in Casper, but the reality is we hunted within probably like a 200-mile radius of there, would you say?
Yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, in different directions too. So one day we went one way, another day we went another way.
One day we didn't know where we were going because it was so foggy. Remember that?
Yes.
We were going through the mountains. I think I was driving about 15 miles an hour. I'm like, anybody see the road? Anyway.
Yes, that's right. I forgot about that. And one day we got halfway to where we were going, and there was a train parked across the road, and it wasn't moving, and there was no other way to get where we wanted to go. And we waited for like an hour for the train to move. I don't know why it was sitting where it was, but it was blocking the 2-track that we were on. So
it was between us and the chukar, right?
yeah.
I think, yeah.
Yep.
That was funny.
Absolutely. So anyway, Wyoming, how would you rank it, George? The places we've been: Ontario, Canada, on an island; Oklahoma, hunting bobwhites. Where does Wyoming rank for you?
Okay, they all rank 1, 1, and 1 because they're all 100. They're all 100% different. So every one of them is top one. I mean, and the birds were all different. So I mean, I don't know. It's in the top 5. All 3 of those locations.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I
Part of
I
me
think
doesn't want to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think when you load when you get a buddy and you load up the bird dogs and all the gear and you're going somewhere, it's always a top one.
Some Johnny Cash is playing on the radio, and we're driving. We're talking.
Yeah.
We're enjoying life. We're game planning, making fun of each
Yeah.
other a little bit. That's what buddies do. So I'm leaning Montana. I don't know how you feel about that for this coming season. I almost want to put an invitation. Nobody wants to hunt with me, but it seems like everybody wants to hunt with you. So maybe if you want to invite George, and I'll be there with a cameraman, I suppose, to document it. But with some hunt ideas.
Yeah, we're doing research right now, right?
Yeah, we're in the planning stages.
We just started our research, so I mean, I love hunting with you, so I don't know what you're talking about. I think
You're
anybody.
okay.
I think any. Wow, I'm speechless. Uh, it's the dogs. It's the dogs. But yes, I am. I think Montana should be on our list, and an outback camp. Do it on our own, and but if anyone wants to help, lend a helping hand and point us in the right direction. But I know we'll get there.
Yeah, I'm sure we might hear from a few people, but I do want to do this without the help of anybody because, like we said earlier, I enjoy that part of it. I wanted to talk to you today about Wisconsin grouse hunting. We have really managed to ramble for a long time again. I don't know what it is, whether we're on this podcast or just talking to each other on our way to and from work. It always ends up being a long conversation, which I enjoy. But I think that means we have to have another conversation at another time. We'll do another podcast because we haven't broken down Wisconsin grouse yet, Minnesota grouse yet, and there are a lot of other places. I know you're a big fan of the shortgrass prairie for sharp-tailed grouse. So we have plenty more to talk about. I think we need to call it quits today. Any words of wisdom for midsummer dog training, George?
Early, cool, or late evening, and keep the dogs hydrated. That's the biggest thing. Avoid the heat. And, you mentioned it about our Wyoming adventure. Be very aware of the heat. Remember that dogs don't sweat. And when you're walking through cover and the cover's up to your knees, where's the dog? The dogs are usually down in that cover. And that applies to opening weekend in South Dakota or Minnesota. You see a lot of dogs out there that are not conditioned, and we all are excited for opening day to come around. We want to get out there with our friends, and we want to run our dog. Well, opening days are usually pretty warm. Be very aware of the heat and what's going on with your dog.
Words of wisdom, my man. You are elite. I can't wait to hunt with you again. Hunting season will be here soon. It's good to talk about it again. Hey, if you like this show, would you mind saying that you do and giving us a positive rating? Because I'm told, as I'm learning in this world of podcasts, that makes a big difference. So I enjoy hearing from all of you. Thank you for the messages. Please keep sending them. We will do our best to keep telling stories. Let me know what you want to hear next. If it's George again, I'll do it. I'll do it. George, my friend, thank you. You have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Travis. You too.
All right. We'll catch you next time on another episode of the Flush Podcast. I don't know what we're going to be talking about or where we're going to be. I'm thinking Alaska. Yeah, I think we're going to be talking about Alaska next. We'll catch you then.